Welcome to Italy and this week's Top Gear Motorsport. The first half of this year's World Rally Championship saw Ford very much left behind by both Subaru and Mitsubishi. But now, with only 3 rounds remaining, Carlos Sainz is the only driver with a realistic chance of catching Tommi Mäkinen, and the team are only 1 point behind Subaru. But the talk over the last few days here in SanRemo hasn't been so much about who'll win round 12, but who'll be doing what next year. But to recap, last month's Rally Indonesia ended in retirement for Colin McRae.
Tightens and opens, 3 outside.
Round 11 of the FIA World Rally Championship gave Carlos Sainz his second victory of the year, which meant that after Indonesia, Tommi Mäkinen's lead in the Drivers' Series was cut to 8 points, with McRae a distant third, needing a miracle to rekindle his championship hopes. 3 weeks later, and the teams have made the long journey from Asia back to Europe on the dry, twisty roads of Italy for round 12, the Rally SanRemo. The town of SanRemo on the shores of the Mediterranean is a short drive from Monte Carlo, where the championship began in January. 3 days and 25 special stages made up the third and final all-tarmac event in the series. A stunning sunrise greeted the crews, but what of those thoughts about next year? Carlos Sainz announced before the rally that for 1998 he'll partner Didier Auriol at Toyota.
It's a big blow. I mean, obviously we're all very sad that he's going, because he has been a big driving force within M Sport this year and Ford. I mean, it was a completely new challenge for us, and it's been a big challenge for me as well to work with someone like Carlos. But on the other hand, I think 100% to him, he's given 100% commitment, and his drive and his professionalism has had a big effect on getting us to where we have.
When you are happy in one place, it is difficult to move, and obviously I was happy in Ford, especially this part of the season, but I think there were also a lot of things to consider, and I think when you put everything one side and in the other side, at the end, being very equal, I decided to move to Toyota. We will see. I hope it is the right decision. I have a very good offer for the next 3 years, but especially for afterwards, and I think that was very important also for me.
The main news since we last spoke to you has been that you've committed Tommi for another 2 years. How delighted are you to have been able to announce that?
Well, we're very happy indeed, because Tommi has been with the team now for 3 years, and he works well with the team, he knows the team, he understands the car. We've developed the car around Tommi, and just to carry on for another 2 years is just exactly what we would wish for.
There's been a lot of speculation, Colin, about where you might be or might not be driving next year. What's the truth of the matter at the moment?
Well, there's nothing really to say at the moment. Obviously, there are other teams interested, showing quite a big interest, and also ProDrive want to keep me and Subaru want to keep me. So at the moment, I don't really know. We might know a bit more after this event.
But you're contracted at the moment for 2 years. You're contracted for another year with Subaru.
Well, 1 more year on an option, so it's a bit up in the air at the moment, so I don't really know what's going to happen.
Now, of course, this season, Tommi has been your one driver for all events. Is the aim for next year to have 2 drivers for all 14 rounds?
Yes, well, I mean, that's our target, and you know, we're well down the road to being able to confirm that with Richard as the second driver, and I think that this in itself will help Tommi. Tommi has requested fairly strongly that he has a backup driver, and it gives him some measurement to his performance, and Richard, you know, has done enough events this year to confirm that is the driver that Tommi wants in the second car, so hopefully very soon we'll be able to confirm that.
The start ramp. Time to forget about the future and concentrate on the present. Leg 1 and Leg 3 would share 8 stages, but Sunday's opening spectator special and the first test on Monday morning were cancelled as vast numbers of spectators flooded the narrow mountain roads. So the rally proper began on stage 3, a 6-mile climb to the village of Baiardo. First up the hill was the Mitsubishi Lancer of the championship leader, Tommi Mäkinen.
7. Lyhyt helppo oikee. 8 huomio Kouvasen plus kapee.
But the fastest time on the stage wasn't set by one of the big stars. The Renault Megane of Paolo Andreucci was quickest, and the Italian led the rally by 1 second. Last year, the event was won by Colin McRae, and he badly needed to repeat that victory if he was to stand even a slim hope of the Drivers' Championship.
Into left and 3 right, tightens and narrows, don't cut. Into slow 3 left line, don't cut. And right, and 5 right plus, and 6 left. Into right, right and 1 left, tightens. Ready, okay.
But McRae could only manage 6th fastest with an awkward handling machine, and the smoke from the brakes showed how hard he'd been trying.
Tarmac events always pose special problems because there's so much grip from the tyres, bigger footprints for the tyres, the demands are far higher. It's just the temperatures that the discs and the calipers see. We get 700 degrees on the discs, 200 plus on the calipers typically. Water and air are the only things we can use really, and we try and use the air to cool the discs, and we use water to cool the calipers circulating inside, and it can reduce it by anything up to 100 degrees on the calipers and keep the disc to a manageable temperature.
But if the disc overheats, the brake pads and the disc are all glazing, then it's like fading and you lose the brakes. The bite disappears completely, and when you push the pedal it doesn't happen anything.
I think there's been a little bit of progress made since I was driving, and things like the sequential gearbox have made a big difference because you don't actually need to use the brakes as much, because you can change gear so quickly and you can do a lot of engine braking. But then also, I mean, I was quite heavy on brakes, whereas Carlos is quite heavy. You are very light.
The first thing to do is to try to fit the biggest disc and braking system that you can, but you are now limited by the wheel size, and we almost use, I think, the biggest disc and calipers that we can use. But it's, I think, a lot more technology to come on the caliper technology, a number of piston, number of pads, maybe disc material, and it's something, I think, where we have to work hard still. Every time we catch up with the brake technology, the car goes a little bit faster and then it's starting again.
But brakes weren't the only things receiving punishment on the tarmac. Andrea Navarra lost precious seconds, along with his Subaru's rear tyre. Seat came to Italy on the verge of clinching the Formula 2 World Championship, but another puncture and then electrical problems ended Oriol Gomez's rally on only the second stage.
Vale. Merda. And push.
No Richard Burns in Italy meant that apart from McRae, British honours were upheld by Neil Weirden in the Honda on his first ever World Championship rally. Andreucci's performance had been a one-off. On stage 4, Freddie Loix moved into the lead, and he increased that lead on the next when he was fastest through the stage. Not bad for his first event in a brand new car. He passed the stranded Subaru of Andrea Dalla Villa, so there was one fewer challenge to worry about.
Yes, I'm leading, okay? It's the beginning of the rally and we need to go a long way. But it's better to have a very good start than a bad start.
Juha Kankkunen in the Ford Escort didn't have the best of starts. 18 seconds lost to the flying Loix on only the first 3 stages. Didier Auriol, too, couldn't match the pace of his young teammate, although he wasn't helped by a broken gear change joystick. Carlos Sainz's Escort was quicker than Kankkunen's on the first leg, but not by much. The Spaniard would eventually end the day in 4th place. Tommy Mäkinen set the fastest time on just one stage during the day, which helped him to end leg 1 in 3rd place.
Lyhyt vasen nopea plus heti pitkä vasen nopea miinus risteys yli ja pitkäko oikein.
If there'd been a prize for being the most spectacular round this corner, Mäkinen and Uwe Nittel in the Mitsubishis would have been contenders, but the easy winner would have been Renault Verrate in the Seat. Over the day's 7 stages, Freddie Loix had been fastest on 3. It had been a great performance by the young Belgian, and it meant he'd start leg 2 in 2nd place. Piero Liati's bid for victory last year ended when his car wouldn't start on the final morning. This year's rally began superbly for him though, fastest on 3 of the day's stages and the rally leader at the end of leg 1.
E destra 2 meno lunga. In sinistra. Per destra 5, 50, sinistra 2 lunga apre.
Yeah, it was a very good day. I surprised a little bit myself, especially it was the first time that we really did a rally with the car, and we have been leading. It was not bad. Okay, on the end, Liati was very quick. It was, I think, impossible for me to do it better. But even with the second place today, I'm happy.
Yes, it's a very good day. Only 2 seconds in front Freddy Loix, but it's a very good day for me.
The first 2 were 25 seconds clear of Mäkinen in 3rd, but just 13 seconds separated the Finn from McRae, back in 8th place. Leg 2 began early with a long drive up the coast to Savona and then into the hills for the day's 4 stages that would each be run twice as they weaved their way through the picturesque vineyards.
120.
Colin McRae had a disappointing first day, handling which didn't quite suit the conditions, and a puncture on the second stage left him a frustrated man. But the team had adjusted the suspension and he set the fastest time on every one of the first 5 stages of the day and leapt from 8th to 2nd. Piero Liati still led, but he now faced the challenge of a teammate hungry for victory. Freddie Loix's day began badly as transmission problems left him with only rear-wheel drive for the first 2 stages. Arriving at a passage control between those stages, he was putting a brave face on a problem which would drop him from 2nd to 6th.
Yeah, I think I broke one of the drive shaft of input shaft, but I don't know exactly.
Last what, 20 seconds?
Yeah, 20 seconds.
Okay, good luck.
Didier Auriol in the other Toyota Corolla was also having a frustrating time as his trick joystick gear change broke again, and when the team spent 3 minutes too long in a service area, the 30 seconds penalty dropped him from 5th to 8th.
In destra plus lang.
One of the performances of the morning came from Uwe Nittel. He and Tina Torner were second fastest to McRae on 2 of the first 3 stages, and this spin on stage 10 showed just how hard they were trying.
His win in Catalonia has given Tommi Mäkinen a newfound confidence on tarmac, but in Italy he couldn't risk pushing for outright victory. As long as he scored more points than Sainz, he'd be happy. In one of the closest battles of the entire rally, the pair would be separated by no more than 4 seconds all day. The huge crowd, swelled by the glorious weather, loved it. Every driver was cheered, but the Italian fans know their sport. Sainz is a hero, and his fight with Mäkinen brought them to their feet. Equal after the day's first stage, Mäkinen was the first to ease ahead, but after stage 13, Carlos had caught and passed Tommi. Sainz and his co-driver Luis Moya refusing to give up. This was a fight they knew they could win. With the Group N world title already secure, Gustavo Trellas retired from the rally when he rolled his Mitsubishi Charisma. Neil Weirden's last event was the Manx Rally, so the dusty Italian tarmac held no fears for him. The service area in the town of Aquiterme, and the man now in 2nd place couldn't have been happier.
It was a good start. We didn't know how it would go. We changed the suspension in the car again and it went well in the first stage.
What exactly have you done to it this morning?
Just made it a bit higher, that's all, just to try and keep it off the bump stops a bit and make it a bit nicer over the bumps.
But your teammate's still that little bit further ahead than everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing we can do about that. The main thing is to get in front of Tommy and Carlos.
But Mäkinen and Sainz had each other to worry about. They couldn't touch the charging McRae and both had one eye on the Drivers' Championship. Sainz now held the advantage, but it was only 4 seconds.
Well, it's very close. In any case, I think the differences are still very, very little. And I think it's going to be very tight still.
Are you happy now you were ahead of Tommy?
Well, it's only 4 seconds, so it's nothing, but of course it's better to be 4 ahead than 4 behind.
It's very tight, and Carlos is doing very well at the moment. It's not so easy.
But you'll try and get ahead of him this afternoon?
Of course, I try to do what I can, and still there's tomorrow.
And on the very next stage, Mäkinen retook 3rd place. From 4 seconds down, he was now 3 seconds up. Nittel in the older Evolution 3 Lancer was still pushing as hard as he could. The second 98 Mitsubishi drive was still a possibility.
Rechtsvoll, 70 linksdrive plus, lang. In rechts 3 Katzand.
Today we was very competitive. We go this today 2 times, the second time here with the last year car. And okay, I was driving on the limit, and I think this was a little bit over the limit. The problem was not the spin, but the problem was the starting to burning. Under the car was cross, and this starting to burning.
But everything is okay now?
Yes, I think. Except we lose the 5 minutes.
On stage 16, he'd lose a little bit more.
40.
Into the day's final pair of stages, and there would be no more unpleasant surprises. 1997 was the year of new regulations, with Toyota, Ford and Subaru all building World Rally cars. Next year there'll be others, with SEAT confirming their intention to develop one. Harry Rovanperä, on his way to finishing 10th, had already done enough to give the team their second successive 2-litre World Cup. Andrea Navarra's Subaru would return to SanRemo in 9th place. The Toyota Celica of Andrea Aghini was 8th. Oriol's new Corolla was 7th, while Loix's was 6th. Fifth was the Ford Escort of Juha Kankkunen. Sainz would have to content himself with 4th overnight and continue the battle on the final day. It seemed that Mäkinen was holding something back. The battle with Sainz was dramatic enough, but the reigning world champion wasn't taking any risks, doing just enough to stay ahead. McRae, fastest on 6 of the day's 8 stages, was a comfortable second, undoubtedly the performance of the day. Liati, in an identical Impreza, now took an advantage of just 6 seconds into the final leg. Back in SanRemo, analysis of the rally's longest day could begin.
Yeah, everything just sort of fell into place today. I was happier with the car, and we had a very good time the first stage in the morning, which sort of gets you in the right gear and puts you in the right track for the rest of the day.
We didn't like so much those stages, and nothing else actually. We had the feeling to drive much faster, but after the stop control, the times were not fantastic. So we can't really understand why. There is not a why. The car is perfect, tires were perfect, so maybe we were not perfect.
Neil Weirden, on the other hand, had no complaints.
I'm 27th overall, 3rd in 1600cc class and 5th in Formula 2. I never thought I'd be up this high at this stage in the rally. We've got another long day to go, so I'm hoping for a good result at the end of it.
Now this is your first World Championship event, and you can see Kankkunen and Mäkinen and Carlos Sainz, Colin McRae. What do you make of it all?
Absolutely unbelievable. I can't believe it. I feel as though I'm in a dream world all the time, especially in Italy, because the fans are so, fanatical about the sport. I'm just in awe of everything, It's just really, really good fun.
6 seconds then the gap between the Subarus, with a 20-second cushion ahead of the seesaw battle for 3rd. The scene was set for an incredible final day. At the head of the field, Nicky Grist and Colin McRae faced Piero Liati and Fabrizia Pons, while the battle for World Championship honours pitted the Ford of Luis Moya and Carlos Sainz against the Mitsubishi of Seppo Harjanne and Tommi Mäkinen. Leg 3 opened with a stage that had been cancelled 2 days earlier, and McRae set off in determined style.
30, long 3 right minus. And 6 left, keep out, and 3 left. Into 6 right opens.
It was Sainz, though, who woke up quickest and set the fastest time on that first stage. Tommy was now 3 seconds behind Carlos, and as a forest fire forced the organisers to cancel the second stage, only 6 more stages remained.
Ja K-oikea miinus aukeaa. Jatkuu pitkä oikea eri aukeaa.
On the next stage, stage 20, McRae edged his way into the lead, while Sainz was now closing the gap on the Subarus.
It's going to be a race to the finish. Carlos, you can never discount him. He's always there, ready to attack. And he's doing that this morning. If he keeps going like that, then it's going to be very close at the end.
We have to try to go in front of Tommy and see if we can keep that position, but also we have to try, if possible, to win.
It's only 14 seconds now.
14 seconds, 70 kilometer special stage. We will see.
Stage 21, and Liati claws back 4 seconds from McRae. The Italian leads once again.
In sinistra lunga chiude 3 meno. E destra, per destra 2 più. E sinistra 3 meno, 50. Destra 4 più e sinistra 3 più. E destra 4 più apre, 100. Destra 4 più lunga. E sinistra 4 meno.
Stages 21, 22 and 23 were run without any service halts between them. McRae's tactic was to preserve his tyres through the first 2 and attack on the third. It worked. He set the fastest time on stage 23 and retook the lead. 2 stages were now all that remained. In the battle for third place, Sainz was still keeping Mäkinen at bay. Just.
Se cierra. Para uno corto. Derecha acá se cierra, Sassar. Para izquierda en cuarta, izquierda poco, Sassar.
Mäkinen, though, was fighting back. On stage 23, Tommy was 5 seconds faster than Carlos, and so the pair shared third.
Tommy, this is very close.
Yes, it's very tight game at the moment. Equal, 2 more stages to go, and we are equal with Carlos, and it's really first, second and third place. Nothing is, it's not clear yet.
Piero, very exciting. What happens now?
I don't know. I think the stop for the win, the calling.
We've asked them, no risks, please. We're happy with the result as it stands. We've got to think about the Manufacturers' Championship, and there is still an outside chance for Colin of winning the Drivers' Championship. So, in the situation we're in now, it's better for us if it stays like this.
Almost unnoticed amidst all the excitement, there was yet another struggle going on. Freddie Loix had been slowly catching 5th-placed Juha Kankkunen.
Shit. Sorry, sir.
What's next?
That off on the day's first stage was Loix's only setback as he set out to chip away at the overnight deficit of 14 seconds. After stage 23, Kankkunen was just 1 second ahead, and after stage 24, they were dead level. The final 11-mile stage would be the decider. Kankkunen set a time of 12 minutes 34 seconds, Loix 12:31, so 5th place went to the Belgian by just 3 seconds. The first battle was decided. Incredibly, Mäkinen and Sainz were equal after stage 23 and then both shared the fastest time on stage 24, so they also began the final stage on exactly the same time. Again, the Ford would be the loser, the Mitsubishi just 2 seconds faster than the Escort as Mäkinen grabbed 3rd place and an extra championship point. But first place would provide the headlines from Italy. Liati began the final stage only 1 second behind McRae, but the team had already decided that the Scot would win to boost his championship hopes. As Liati approaches the finish line of that last stage, Fabrizio Pons instructs him to stop and drop 5 seconds.
Per destra 5. Fermati. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, vai.
In theory, those 5 seconds should have been enough for them to drop behind McRae and still stay ahead of Mäkinen. But was it enough?
Right, tightens and narrows, don't cut. Into slow 3 left, line, don't cut. And right and 5 right plus. and 6 left into right, and 1 left tightens. Into 6 right. Okay.
Nicky Grist obviously thought it was, but in fact Liati had still been 5 seconds faster, so Pons is forced deliberately to check into the final time control a minute late, incurring a 10-second penalty and handing victory to her colleagues.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
A bit disappointed or very happy?
No, very happy, but my job. It's my job, this.
Yeah, it's been a great result, a 1-2, and I mean, nobody can take that away from us. We've had a very tough battle all the way through, and we've finished first and second.
Is it a hollow victory in a way, because Piero was right on the pace right to the end?
No, not really. I mean, we lost a lot of time in the first day with the puncture, so if you take that into consideration, we would have been, quite a way in front at the end. But no, not really. The most important thing now is the championship, and to take 10 points here is very important for us to keep it alive.
Team orders then giving McRae victory by 6 seconds over Liati. Confirmation too of Mackinnon's 3rd place and Loix's triumph in snatching 5th on the very last stage. With just 2 rounds remaining, Tommy Mackinnon's lead in the Drivers' Championship is extended slightly, but his win now gives Colin McRae a slim chance of the title. Kenneth Eriksson is still 4th, while the result in Italy restores Piero Liati to the leaderboard. With 3rd-placed Mitsubishi possibly too far behind, Ford are now perhaps the only team still in with a chance of preventing Subaru's 3rd manufacturer's title in as many years. For Neil Weirden, meanwhile, SanRemo had proved a highly satisfactory baptism in world rallying.
In the end, I think we finished 23rd overall, 6th Formula 2 and 3rd in the 1600cc class. Absolutely well pleased. I'm really, really chuffed.
When you came here at the weekend, was that what you were anticipating?
No, I was anticipating probably 40s, 30s, but not in the 20s. It's to be in the 20s in the World Series is just a dream come true for me. The whole event's been a dream come true. Thanks to Mobile and Ascot Autosport, we've actually got here and done the event. We've done it on a very low budget, and we've managed to come away with a really good result.
McRae's celebrations may be short-lived. 2 men still to beat to win the World Championship and only 2 rallies left on which to do so.
Who knows? Yeah, I hope that we can keep going until REC and do good result in Australia.
You could win it in Australia?
I'm not sure. I think it's quite possible, but still I think it's going to be tight.
And so to Perth for the fireworks of round 13 this weekend. Last year, Mackinnon won the world title on the Rally Australia and could well do so again this year. For both Sainz and McRae, a win down under is now the only option. Find out what happens in Top Gear Motorsport in 2 weeks' time, while in next week's programme